Communication enabled.
Enabled? You gotta be kidding! I've got nothing but snow here.
What's going on? I thought we had a lock.
I don't know. We're through the firewall, have full control of the tower, the logo was up and looking good, then nothing.
Hey, what's happening back there? We lost the whole transmission.
Hold on. I'm running a system diagnostic. Hard drives are fine. The network's still up. Modulation is within limits. Let me check this satellite. Got it. Tracking is off. I'm gonna realign.
We'll dial it in and let's get back online. We don't want underground members seeing this snow when they try to get the transmission.
You've got the wrong bird, unless we're transmitting Spunko's commercials.
Hang on.
Hang on. We're hanging on dead air. Let's go.
Okay, I'm reestablishing the lock. Picture should be clearing up.
So, you want interviews with developers, demos of the hottest new games, codes, tips, and tricks you can't get anywhere else? Cool, black market underground gear.
Nod your head yes.
To get all that 4 times a year, you gotta subscribe to the Underground magazine. And to subscribe, you gotta have a plan.
Here's the plan.
Get up off the couch. Step over the coffee table. No, don't look away. Walk through the dirty laundry. It is critical that you make no eye contact here with anyone, or they will try to make you pick things up.
Don't even think about picking up.
Move towards the front door. You know, where you keep the mail. Finally, you're at the door. Think back to when you picked up the mail. You saw the Underground CD, so you threw the rest of the mail aside.
Concentrate!
You ripped open the expensive, well-planned mailer, trashed it, opened the jewel case, ignoring all design hours spent creating it, and just tossed it, only to grab out the CD. The CD case. The subscription.
E3 is America's largest trade show dedicated to the video game industry. You might have read about it in gaming magazines and maybe even seen a few pictures. But now, through the use of time-lapse photography, the Underground takes you for a quick look inside E3 and the making of Sony's outrageous booth from the ground up.
You may have already seen this.
Style, sophistication, the ability to launch napalm into oncoming traffic. If these are the things you look for in an automobile, it's time you test drive Twisted Metal 2. Fully automated weaponry, dual rocket launchers, and the new APS flamethrowing system. All standard. Drive the 1997 Twisted Metal 2 on PlayStation from Sony, and let style be your weapon.
Now we're going to show you what it took to make this ad. The Underground has asked me to give you an eyewitness account of the making of the Twisted Metal 2 TV commercial. I'm David Bamberger, the product manager for Twisted Metal 2, and I accompanied the film crew to Prague and saw how they captured the look and feel of a luxury car ad. Prague was the perfect city. It's located in the Czech Republic and has a rich, glamorous feel that we were looking for. We were lucky to find Monique locally. But to get the properly arrogant male lead, we had to import Timothy from England. He actually turned out to be a nice guy. Of course, the real star of the ad is this fully loaded, heavily armed car.
Style, sophistication, the ability to launch napalm into oncoming traffic.
Of course, a missile launcher wasn't a standard feature in these big American cars, so we added one.
3, 2, 1, go! 3, 2, 1, go!
Instead of using a computer composite, we used a real explosion to get the reflection you're about to see in the actor's glasses.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Ability to launch napalm into oncoming traffic. If these are the things you look for in an automobile, it's time you test drive Twisted.
This next scene was really tough. Our model had a hard time overcoming the urge to run from the gunfire. With each blown take, the door had to be rebuilt with fresh explosive caps.
And action.
With only one door panel left, she pulled it off perfectly.
All standard. Drive the 1997 Twisted Metal 2 on PlayStation from Sony.
This is one of the last shots we did because the flamethrower actually melted the hood of the car.
And let style be your weapon.
The crew somehow found this big American car in Prague. They worked on it non-stop for a week and turned it into this twisted metal weapon of mass destruction. It wasn't street legal when we bought it, and it certainly wasn't street legal after. Well, there's your inside look. And remember, drive angry.
Jim Brown.
Tim Brown came into our motion capture studio, and the result you can see in the game, the smoothest animation in a football game today.
That kind of stuff just blows you away, really, to see how they could take you running and put it on the screen and fill it in with animation or whatever, and it ends up being a little football player in the game doing exactly what you were doing.
High step. So what it does is for each frame, it will go through and it will figure out where each of these dots actually were. They really don't mean anything until you start moving them. And once you start moving them, you can see basically where the hips and the knees and the ankles and all the joints are. Voila, you end up with a stick figure. You want to have a left foot, left foot, so that you can take that and cycle it.
It was really fun to be here with these guys and to see how much they really put into making sure that these games are exactly how the guys are doing on the field.
One playing the game, you draw it anywhere you want, we'll implement it, and then you draw it.
Well, this is happening, man. This is happening. But I'm very, very excited about my special play because I guarantee you it's going to be a touchdown, especially if you have the right receiver out wide.
That's it, baby! Twisted Metal was really inspired, I think, by myself and a fellow designer, Mike Yam at Sony. It was basically inspired by our deep love of action movies. You know, a lot of critics, I think, and people sort of say, you know, do we really need another car chase and things like that? And everyone's always bashing on car chases, but we love car chases. And, you know, what we really wanted to do with Twisted Metal was sort of give players the opportunity, and you know, as importantly, give ourselves the opportunity to actually participate in an interactive car chase, to actually be behind the wheel of a car chase, like in the movie Speed or Terminator or The French Connection. That was really the whole creative inspiration, and then it just happened to come along at a time when the technology was right. When we met with our developers, Single Track up in Utah, that was really the first time that we had really experienced affordable 3D that, you know, your home consumer could buy. And we realized that, you know, that idea, that inspiration for sort of wanting to put the player in a Hollywood action movie could actually finally be done, you know, via this really cool technology, which allowed you to actually live in these worlds and things like that. So. The first one wasn't. The first one was, I think the first one had all the heart that we wanted it to have. I mean, the first one is very much sort of like, we always compare it to sort of like a garage band version of, you know, what ultimately the game ended up being, which is Twisted Metal 2. The first one had all the heart that we wanted it to have, but it lacked a lot in terms of presentation, gameplay, things like that. But it wasn't until the second one that we were really able to make the game everything that we originally intended to make. Again, I'd have to say the gameplay. You know, there's a lot of things in Twisted 2 that I'm real proud of, that I think that everyone involved with the product really, you know, put into it and should be proud of. But the most important thing to me about any game, and especially Twisted 2, is just the jump in gameplay from 1 to 2, and the fact that, you know, especially when you're competing with a friend and you're fighting with a friend, it's such a richer experience. There's so much more strategy, so much more depth to what you can do that I think that's the thing that I'm really most proudest of, that we were able to learn what it takes to get that gameplay and figure out how to execute it. I think the biggest leap was just, I mean, I think gameplay says it all. I think it was just a real, Twisted Metal 1 was my second game as a designer. It was the developer's first game as a developer, and you know, in that learning time between Twisted 1 and Twisted 2, we really began to understand what it means to have good gameplay, strategy, risk and reward, payoff, things like that really make players stay with a game. Whereas Twisted Metal 1 it almost felt more thrown together than the second one. So gameplay, I guess, would be the key thing. You know, I really like mapping. I think mapping is just, you know, the key to what it means to be a designer. I mean, I love to sit down at the whiteboard, either with myself or with my fellow designers or fellow development team, and just really sit there with all these markers and figure out what the level is going to look like, or figure out what the strategy is in the level, or what the gameplay is in the level, and what the cool effects are. That really is the most fun. Not only because it's you get to let your imagination run wild, but because, you know, 12, 13, 14 months later, you get to see that, you know, terrible looking stick figure map on your whiteboard in your office is now translated into a playable video game with great graphics and sound and playability. So that, I think mapping would be the most fun thing that I do. どうして退くことができよ
う。Round 1 Fight!
いつでもお相手しましょう。
Round 2 Fight!
いつでもお相手しましょう。